Welcome to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Now here along with Dr. Bonati, your host, Kimberly Bermel.
Thank you for joining us for American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bermel, joined by our friend and executive producer, Ethan Euchre.
I am here as always.
And we have our senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff.
Absolutely ecstatic to be here. It's a big day on American Medicine Today.
It is, and across from me, we have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. Thank you for sharing your time with us, sir.
Hello.
Man of few words.
Mm-hmm.
Well, every week we try to let you know why you need to pay attention to that man over there. And that's because he changed spine surgery forever. There was invasive procedures, and then there was Dr. Bonati, who saw that the results of traditional spine surgery weren't yielding positive results for the patients. Sure, surgery was performed, however, the results of that were less than desirable. Mm-hmm. And that bothered him, so he set out and he figured out a way to target the root cause of the pain, to pinpoint the cause of pain and then eradicate it for his patients. And I'm amazed with every surgery that I see. I'm more and more amazed with how everything works, because it's impressive on the big screen as you see him performing his exclusive patented methods. But then when you see the interaction between patient and doctor, it's amazing, because with the two of them working together, it's kind of a team effort. And that's really what sets what he does apart from anything else on the market. People can claim minimally invasive. It's not the same.
It's not the same. Yeah, with the conscious IV sedation, that's really the magic behind. Well, there's lots of magic behind it, but one of the aspects of the Bonati spine procedures is that interaction. We talk to patients. We're about to talk to one right now, but we speak with patients every week, and they say, that's the key, because if you're totally under and the doctor's doing something on your back,
correct?
They don't know exactly necessarily where they're at unless they can ask you when you're half awake.
And when you go through those traditional spine surgeries, sometimes you won't know the true results for 4, 6, or even 12 months. Mm-hmm. How scary is that? This one, you pretty much instantaneously know what the results are.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, we have an exciting show. We have Clark Elliott, and he's Associate Professor of Artificial Intelligence at DePaul University. He's also the author of The Ghost in My Brain, How a Concussion Stole My Life, and How New Science of Brain Plasticity Helped Me Get It Back.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy story. Obviously, we'll get into it with him, but the gist of it is he's a professor, a doctor, got in an accident and pretty much started to lose himself. He became a ghost of himself.
Right.
And it's all documented in this book because he took copious notes throughout the entire ordeal, and somehow you'll learn through brain plasticity was able to return to his former self. It's pretty impressive.
That's great. And then, of course, a friend of ours, Michael Dougherty, President and CEO of LabMD, to talk about the SCOTUS ruling on Obamacare.
Yeah.
And
that's going to be a heated conversation.
You're not kidding.
It's going to be fun.
And then we have Dr. Jeffrey Pfeiffer, Professor of Organizational Behavior at Stanford's Graduate School of Business. Now, he's also written a very popular article titled Why Health Insurance Companies Are Doomed, as if we don't already know.
Right.
Well, anyway, and up first we have...
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
Well, I'd like to welcome to the program from Ville Platte, Louisiana, Donald DeVille.
Hey,
Thank
Don.
you for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us, Don. You have quite an interesting story. Why don't you start off, though, by letting everyone know where the back pain was and how it came to be? Was it something degenerative in nature?
It was degenerative in nature. Actually, several years ago, my legs started giving me problems, and they got kind of weaker and weaker, and back last year in October, I had an absolute complete back failure with the sciatic nerve, a sciatic problem, and I went to a chiropractor. He was able to adjust it to where I could actually move around again, but my right leg was numb almost completely and was very unstable. And I also had continuing back pain as I walked or stood up.
Okay.
And I talked to my personal physician about this, and he recommended that I go have a CAT scan done. And the results of the CAT scan were that the legs were not actually the problem. It was a problem with my back, which I surprised the heck out of me. Had I known that, I would have not waited near as long to take care of the problem. But it was degenerative. I played a lot of football in high school and college. I'm 59 years old. I ran up until I was about 50, and my knees just couldn't take it anymore.
Sure. Let me ask you something. When you were having that sort of leg trouble walking, standing, you said it felt numb, there was weakness. How did that affect your daily activities?
Well, it affected it in a great number of ways. I'm just now trying to have a startup business that I'm trying to get off the ground, and I could not move around to get to go see prospective customers and get this thing off the ground like I wanted to. It also, I'm a motorcycle rider,
nice,
and the right leg was so weak and so unstable that I could not ride the motorcycle for fear of stopping and maybe having the leg collapse on me.
Wow.
Also, just walking. I'm a Louisiana State University graduate, and I'm a season ticket holder to the football games.
Go Tigers.
And the going to the football games was just I couldn't hardly do it anymore. You've got to park a long way away. The walk was terrible. My legs were so unsteady in the stadium that I was worried about falling on someone. So last year, I let a whole bunch of people go in my place and kind of stayed home and watched the games on TV.
Well, that couldn't have made you feel too good. So when you tried the chiropractor and that didn't relieve your pain, and then you went to your local doctor and you had the CT scan, and it showed some of the problems with your back, what did you do? Did you have surgery anywhere else? How did you find your way to the Bonati Spine Institute?
Well, my doctor referred me to a local orthopedic guy.
Okay.
And I never really intended to go over there. I never did go see him. The way I found out about the Bonati Institute, 5 years ago, a friend of mine, Quentin Doucette, had who I've been friends with for about 40 years, worked with him back in the 80s. He had a debilitating accident in a service vehicle, and was not able to work any time after that. He found the Bonati Institute and talked to them, and they said that they were able to help him with his problem that he was having. I'm not sure exactly what the situation was.
Sure.
But I took him from Louisiana to Tampa to the Institute and was able to basically sit down and go through the whole system with him. The people at the Bonati Institute were very open about discussing what they do, how they do it.
Right.
And they did it not only with Kenny, but also or Quentin, but they also allowed me to sit around and understand what was going to happen to him. And I witnessed his amazing recovery from this pain that was that he had for so long when the Bonati Institute performed the first procedure on him. So I was kind of sold 5 years ago and thought to myself, if I ever need this, I'm going to go to the Bonati first. So
you already felt comfortable then, and obviously you sent in your diagnostics and you came here to Florida to the Bonati Spine Institute. Kind of walk us through that process, the evaluation process, the surgery with the conscious IV sedation. How did that work?
Okay, well, when I sent the information in, I got online and filled out the information form online, and I was amazed. Within about 20 minutes, I had a phone call from the Bonati Institute and a phone discussion. And when I sent the CD of the CAT scan to Bonati, and when they told me that they could help me, I was pretty happy. We talked about we traveled to Tampa on a Friday, and Quentin and I, and we went through the preoperative, all the different things that you do. We spoke to the doctor, we spoke to the anesthesiologist, we spoke to the we went to see the nurses, practitioners, and I thought it was a very thorough, informative day of exactly what was going to happen, what they intended to do, what the intended results were going to be, and how they were actually going to do it. And having, as I said, been through it with Quentin, it was doubly relaxing to me to know that I really felt going into the procedure that this was going to help me.
Let's jump ahead to the procedure itself. When you were on the operating table, a lot of people that listen to the program aren't aware. There's the conscious IV sedation, so you're interactive with the surgeon throughout the procedure, and you can even watch. So how was that for you, knowing that you weren't going to be put completely under and that you could be interactive with the doctor taking part in your recovery?
Well, to be honest with you, I was a little bit apprehensive at the beginning, but it's an amazing sensation to be on the table and you feel no pain. You do feel the doctor moving around and doing his procedure in there, but there's absolutely no pain. And if you choose, there is a closed circuit TV that you can watch it. I did not watch the surgery, but to me, it was amazing that when the doctor asked you questions, you were immediately, it's kind of like you came immediately to, and you were cognizant of the questions that he was asking, and was actually able to answer the questions even while you were under that sedation.
Correct.
Now, Don, how quickly did you experience relief from your pain? Was it on the table? Was it during recovery? How quickly?
It was actually during recovery when the doctor on the table asked me about the numbness in the right leg, and I thought at that point in time that I did get some relief from that. I couldn't tell exactly how much relief on the table at the time, but the thing that amazed me most was just before the procedure, Dr. Grossmith came into the room and he said, "I want to try something on you." He asked me to stick my right leg straight out and for me not to allow him to bend it or collapse it. And I couldn't do it. It collapsed like a cheap seat. And immediately in the recovery room, he came back and he said, "Let's try this again." And I put my right leg out, and he could not collapse it.
Wow.
The strength came back immediately.
That's impressive.
And the numbness, as the anesthesia wore off, I could tell that there was a whole lot less numbness in the right leg. And the problem, as I was told, was that nerve damage takes a while to heal itself, and that the numbness would indeed get less and less as time progressed, and it has.
Excellent. So, Don, we're just about out of time. We got to jump toward the end of the story here. How are you feeling today?
Excellent. I'm able to walk. I'm fixing to go. That's a seven term. I'm about to go on a motorcycle ride from here to Canada. In August, and I'm not trailering it. I'm going to ride the bike, I'm able to walk. I'm able to do everything that I used to do, and I'm back to my old self again.
That's great.
Excellent.
Based on your results, if you saw somebody suffering just like you, would you feel free to let them know about the Institute?
I spoke on the phone this morning to a friend of mine whose wife has a problem, and probably for the 4th or 5th time since the surgery, I have recommended the Bonati Institute.
Wow.
Excellent.
Well, thank you. Continued good health, and make sure you send us photos from that trip. We always enjoy seeing everyone getting back to their routine.
Absolutely.
Well, with any luck, you're going to see me again because I have a CD in my possession of a CAT scan for my neck.
Okay.
And if you guys say you can give me some relief on that, I will be back.
Well, send it on down, and we'll get you resolved.
All right. Thank you
You
very
take
much.
care.
I appreciate it. And thank you, Dr. Bonati, for inventing your procedure. It's an amazing procedure.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks a lot, Don. Have a great day, sir.
Take
All
care.
right, you guys. Bye-bye.
God bless.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
trip.
Aw.
Good stuff.
These are stories we hear all the time. You are listening to American Medicine Today. Coming up after the break, well, we'll speak to Clark Elliott, the Associate Professor of Artificial Intelligence at DePaul University, author of Ghost in My Brain, How a Concussion Stole My Life, and how the new science of brain plasticity helped me get it back. Stay tuned. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years, and it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results, no pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone, nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now, I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you. Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Bermel.
Thank you for joining us for American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bermel, joined by our executive radio producer, Ethan Euchre.
Here as always.
Our friend and senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff.
Ecstatic to be here.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute, who doesn't have his microphone on, but he's here and says hello.
There he he is.
Hey,
Doc.
We have on the line Clark Elliott, Associate Professor of Artificial Intelligence at DePaul University. Now, he's also the author of The Ghost in My Brain, How a Concussion Stole My Life, and How the New Science of Brain Plasticity Helped Me Get It Back. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Clark.
He's Dr. Clark. He's got a PhD,
Clark.
right?
Okay.
How you doing, Clark?
Very well. Dr. Bonatti, Kimberly, Ethan, Jeff, thank you for having me on.
Well,
You're welcome.
Without getting too off track, because obviously you have a really impressive, remarkable story, but the fact that you work with AI, I have to know, where are we at with artificial intelligence, and when can I get myself a robot butler? I need one.
Well, as I say in the book, one human brain is roughly equivalent to 50 million desktop computers, which if you laid them end to end would stretch from here to Beijing with another 5,000 miles to spare. So we have a long ways to go. The brain is a magnificent device, and we're not close.
Yeah,
I like that idea, though, Ethan.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I hope it happens in my lifetime. So, Clark, your story is pretty remarkable, and it all started with a car crash back in 1999. So can you take us back to that day?
Yes, I was rear-ended while waiting at a stoplight. I didn't take the car crash seriously. I ignored the advice of the EMTs and continued on to teach my class at DePaul University. But even in the moment of impact, strange things began happening in my life. After class, I couldn't stand up. I couldn't walk through the doorway. I couldn't get downstairs. Even in the parking lot, it wasn't just that I couldn't find my car. I couldn't really even understand what a car was at that point.
Wow.
And that began my 8-year odyssey with concussion brain damage.
Wow.
Holy cow. So you didn't have to go to the hospital, obviously. What did you just have, whiplash or severe concussion? I'm sure you found this out later, right?
Yeah, several days later. Although I thought, oh, gee, I'm just shaken up. That's the thing with concussion, is you look fine, and you can't believe there's anything wrong. But after this episode where it took me 6 hours to realize I'd put my shoes on the wrong feet, I finally headed into the hospital a few days after the crash, spent 7 hours there, and they did diagnose me with a severe concussion.
Oh, my goodness.
Clark, obviously a professor, you're a very intelligent man. It's surprising, though, that you wouldn't seek medical assistance after the accident. Do you think that your ability to make decisions was impaired by the accident that maybe forced you not to?
No, that's not the point. Physicians and individuals at this level of intelligence, they usually refuse to believe that they can be affected, and what they do is they never go to the hospital, or they fight to go to the hospital, and unless something like happens to Dr. Elliott, will not really recognize. And am I correct, Doc?
Absolutely. There's really two aspects of that that I can comment on. First, I did get MRIs, CT scans. I saw the best neurologists, the rehab centers, and everyone was in agreement that after the first couple years, Clark Elliott, you will never get better. No one ever recovers from this kind of brain damage. So I did seek help, but there was none really available at the time. And regarding thinking that you're fine, it's such an insidious aspect of concussion. And I can give an example. This is kind of an extreme case, but it happens in 100 small ways each day. Under brain stress, I would lose the right-hand side of my world in something like a standard neglect that might come from a stroke. And if you were to ask me, how are you feeling? I would say, well, not great, but I seem to be okay, because the right-hand side of my world was so far gone, I couldn't even comment on it. You know, I took 1,200 pages of notes during these 8 years, and there's no time when I actually say the right-hand side of my world is gone, because it's so gone, you don't realize it.
Wow. So, it says here in the notes that you crossed paths with two brilliant Chicago area research clinics. One was an optometrist using some sort of neurodevelopmental techniques, and the other was a cognitive restructuring specialist. Why don't you explain kind of what that is and how it helped you regain brain plasticity?
Kimberly, I was at the point where I was going to lose my job, lose my house, lose custodianship of my children. This was a last gasp effort, and I sought I made one last search using the term brain plasticity, after reading a wonderful book by Norman Doidge called The Brain That Changes Itself.
We had him on as a guest actually recently. That's amazing.
He's a wonderful man.
Yeah.
And using just that term, I found Donna-Lee Marcus, the cognitive restructuring specialist who rebuilds brains using, of all things, paper and pencil puzzles, connect the dots puzzles, relationship puzzles, and then her colleague, to whom she immediately referred me, the optometrist Deborah Zielinski, both just north of Chicago. And the idea behind brain plasticity, of course, is that there's healthy real estate in the brain out there, this massive computational device that can be used to take over functioning for damaged parts, even after, in my case, 8 years. So Donna-Lee worked with Debbie Zielinski Zielinski gave me prescription eyeglasses that bent the light through my retinas and activated different paths through my brain. We could think of that as like dirt road for this retinal processing. And then Donna-Lee Marcus, using the brain puzzles, turned those dirt roads into superhighways that once again allowed me to be a professor of artificial intelligence. And the remarkable thing is, even after 8 years, I was about 70% recovered within just that first month.
Holy wow.
Is this something that you have to continually do to retain what you've gained?
Or once you get it, you have it for life?
I am, I did continue with the eyeglasses, successive 6 pairs of prescription eyeglasses for 2 years.
Okay.
And I did the brain puzzles for about 6 months. But I was pretty well fully recovered at the end of the year. And I am now completely fully recovered. In fact, my brain is in better shape, I would say, even than prior to the accident. And this is permanent recovery. Now, I think the parts of my brain that were damaged are still damaged. This is true of most concussions, that we feel better, usually, in the first month, sometimes in the first 2 months. But the damage is permanent. It's just that our plastic brains have worked around the damage. So in my case, I am absolutely fully recovered. I don't need anything special in my life. The recovery is permanent and complete.
Excellent. That's fantastic. We have to wrap things up with you. Clark Elliott, Associate Professor of Artificial Intelligence at DePaul University, and also author of Ghost in My Brain, How a Concussion Stole My Life and How the New Science of Brain Plasticity Helped Me Get It Back.
Pick up the book, and thank you for joining us, Dr. Elliott.
Thank you so much for having me on.
All right,
Take care.
Day.
Good stuff.
And also www.clarkelliott.com, probably where you can pick up a copy of the book.
Yep.
You are listening to American Medicine Today. Coming up after the break, we speak to Michael Daugherty, President and CEO of LabMD in Atlanta. He's going to talk to us more about
that Supreme Court decision earlier in the week.
SCOTUS ruling.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonatti Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonatti spine procedures, Alfred Bonatti, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonatti and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for joining us for American Medicine Today. I'm in studio with our executive radio producer, Ethan Euchre.
Here as always.
Friend and senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff.
Resident old guy, present and accounted for.
Okay, Junior Mint. And across from me, we have world-renowned orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Alfred Bonatti of the Bonatti Spine Institute, turning on his mic and joining us.
I'm the senior one.
And yes, you are, sir. Older and wiser.
Doc's going to like this conversation, and he's a returning guest.
Yes. Joining us is Michael Doherty, President and CEO of LabMD, an Atlanta-based clinical and anatomic medical laboratory. He's also our go-to guy in all things Obamacare, and he's here to discuss Thursday's disappointing ruling from the Supreme Court upholding its tax subsidies on Obamacare. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Good to be here.
So, Mike, obviously, what we like about you, as well as Doc, is that you're one of these guys we can just wind up and let go. So, what are your thoughts on this ruling?
Well, having worked a lot in D.C. the past 4 years, it doesn't shock me to get stuck with Obamacare because I think the political and lobbying class in D.C. doesn't know the first thing about medicine. And so I'm not surprised. This is still, hopefully soon to be a turning point, unfortunately, of what happens when politicians dupe the public with, rose petals and BS.
Right.
And we're unfortunately going to have to learn from reality. He's bought off the insurance carriers, Obama has, with $175 billion in subsidies. Funny how that money has kept rates down, isn't it? And funny how it's kept reimbursement going up for physicians. So, everyone in the system that actually works in the system doesn't have a voice and is getting hosed. And the public seems, I don't know if it's going to stay this way as they get more experience in the actual system, but there's a sizable amount of people that think free stuff is just dandy, and they haven't been through the healthcare system yet to understand how bad this is.
You're telling me.
Let's go, Doc. Let's hear it.
Unfortunately, the ones that suffer are going to be all the citizens.
Of course.
And when you're sick, it's hard to object.
Michael, let me ask you something. I really think this needs to turn in a different direction. This needs to be we need to start to clean our own house. I think physicians, they need to once for all take control of this disaster. They need to join together. They need to create another medical association, and they need to go to join responsible. We have 800,000 physicians in the country. If every physician will donate $1,000 for this institution, the new institution, and will participate as owners of the institution, is not for profit. If we do something like that, we can create immediately $800 million every year to fight every one of the politicians or every one of the legal systems or anybody who can intrude in the treatment and the control of medicine and the treatment for our patients.
Do you even think that's enough money, though, Doc? I mean, with the billions?
It is enough money for the beginning, because then after that, we need to create an insurance company that now deliver health care to the patients and totally responsible, like the guest in the program before. Blue Cross and Blue Shield was created like that. So this is the way that we need to face our future. We cannot be joining hospitals. We cannot be joining clinics. We cannot make the quality of physician go down and not fight. We need to fight, and that's the direction that we need to take this.
Michael, I see here from Chief Justice John Roberts how he said that Congress passed the Affordable Care Act to improve health insurance markets, not to destroy them, and that's why he sided with the majority. I think that's ridiculous. There's nothing. What's affordable about
corruption.
This Obamacare when insurance premiums are doubling, tripling, sometimes quadrupling? Now, it may, in essence, it sounds good because people are getting subsidies, but there are so many more takers than payers into the system that is forcing people onto Medicaid.
But
none of these people have medical backgrounds. None of them, including Roberts. And there's a big fight in the court of Congress should do this. The court, it's Congress's job, not the justice's job. And so, in some huge backfire way, which isn't going to work, I think Roberts wanted to kick this back to Congress and the people, going, look, if you want this change, you've got to be an active participant in the system and change it, which means the public's not going to wake up to this till the smack in the face is harder than it is.
But wait a minute, the Americans didn't really get a voice in this. We were told you had to pass it to know what was in it, and it was a damn lie from the get-go.
It is, but the public elects Pelosi's and Obama's.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And not everyone, but plenty do. And you get what you put into the House. Now, we have, since that time, not one Republican voted for Obamacare. And the Supreme Court is screaming they're not going to fix this. And there's such a slow churning wheels of justice. But, I hope the result of this is people, unfortunately it's going to take a lot, but people have got to wake up and take responsibility for who they elect. They have to participate, and they've got to stop believing all this BS. I mean, I sit there, when Obamacare was being discussed, I'm amazed how the television networks, I don't care who it was, did not have medical people up there. They had
talking heads.
Wait a minute.
Like Gruber.
Well, and they had, they did. They had, all the physicians. Don't you remember? There was a slew of people in an audience that had lab coats. You mean they weren't real doctors?
Well, or they're artificial doctors like the NIH people that come from institutionalized. Now, one thing I will tell a lot of people in D.C., because they're so out of touch, is 28% of the physicians in America belong to the AMA.
15%.
The AMA likes it. They don't even understand. I mean, medical people are so busy saving lives and doing their jobs with more and more pressure on them that they've got 5 plates spinning, and they don't have time to go march on Washington. And the lobbyists that the medical profession has created are just a lousy job. I'm not surprised by this the more I learn, and unfortunately that means we're going to have a bigger fiasco before people wake up.
Michael, I was looking forward to you being on the show today because you always give us really good, straight information with no spin. I read the decision last night because I knew we were going to be talking about this.
Of course.
I'm not a legal scholar, so it's kind of hard to follow.
You're not, Jeff?
Well, I play one on the radio occasionally. But here's the amazing part that, frankly, I'm very confused by. The justice has said in this ruling that the subsidies that almost 9 million people receive to make this insurance affordable, it doesn't depend on where they live. Therefore, that's why the decision went the way it did. I don't get the whole where they live. How is that even part of the conversation?
Jeff.
Well, they had to attack the state. This is why Scalia is having a heart attack. I mean, they have taken clear rules and they've confused basics. And that, from a legal standpoint, is an open door to do that with anything. And then you start to free fall and spin. And this is what happens when you have activist judges on any judicial level, be it magistrate court to federal to appeals to Supreme Court. They know they've got to spin their opinion. And, this is what happens when you allow this type of liberalism to creep into the system over decades. It took a long time to get judges like this in the system, to get them up to that level. And it's going to take a long time to break it down. And the only way it's going to really work is if the patients understand and that this is lipstick on a pig. And
all right, Sarah.
It's true.
Hey, Mike, here's my question, because typically when something gets to the level of the Supreme Court and they make a ruling, that's the end of the discussion. There's nowhere else to go. Is that the case? Because I've heard a lot of the people from the GOP saying we're not going to stop. We're going to keep going with this issue. Where else is there to go after the Supreme Court rules?
It's end of the line for that case. It's not the end of the line for that issue. And a lot of, what Roberts and Kennedy will tell you if you interviewed them, I guarantee this, like, look, we don't make the crappy laws that Congress writes to come up here. Congress's job is to make the laws. You don't like it, get to Congress. You don't like what Congress is doing, change the Congress. Now, we've changed the Congress a lot since this thing went down.
Right.
And we, unfortunately, are going to need more real-world experience in educating, and the big education of the public is going to be all the money coming out of their pocket, because that's what's going here. I mean, the truth is, and they can't, Obama will be sitting in his museum having Mai Tais before this happens, and history will be real harsh to him. But the fact of the
Isn't that what he's doing already, though?
Well, he's getting ready. But,
lame dog.
But, he bought off the insurance industry.
Yes, he
bought
did.
them off.
Yeah, and that's a whole other story. By promising them things that he hasn't fulfilled. You
But
talked
it's going to
about
affect every citizen, because their premium's going to go up.
True. Well, it already is. Yeah.
Right.
You had mentioned that it's some sort of juggling act, but it's not really a juggling act. It's really, sleight of hand, like the pea under the cups, and you're trying to figure out where everything is. This is all a big farce.
What I don't really understand, and I'm really puzzled with this, why we need to continue to talk about what the judges or what the politicians or what the insurance. My point is the solution of this is in the hands of the doctors. The doctors, they need to go and say, we're not going to take Obamacare. The doctors need to say, we're not going to negotiate with insurance companies. And yes, in the beginning, it's going to be a little hard, but I promise you, we put the insurance companies on their knees in 1 month. Okay? The problem is, we are a bunch of cowards that we don't go ahead and face the reality that to be able to go to war, you need to get the rifle. And if you don't, then you die. Then you need to control this by a reaction. You cannot go and sit and wait that the legal system is going to solve your problem. The politicians are going to create some solutions for you. This is absurd. What do you think?
Well, it is absurd, but that's exactly what the AMA has done to their physicians, why so many won't belong to them. I mean, in a perfect world, there'd be an association that already exists that have many more representatives and would be working on patient education, public education, out there aggressively, PR, social media. This is a new world we're in here, and you do it by telling story. And the easy story is this: the poor are worse off, and everyone else is paying more. Yes. And doctors are making less. Hospitals are going to get choked. Your rural people are going to get screwed. And who's making the money? The insurance executives and the government fat cats.
Exactly.
They didn't solve any of those problems, which created this quote-unquote huge medical problem anyway.
All right, Mike.
But they muffle all this. And they muffle, like right now in the UK, they're overworking everyone because the doctors are bailing and people aren't going to practice.
That's right. All right, Mike. Well, we are out of time. I know you got places to be. And again, this topic will march on. So we appreciate you joining us, Michael Dougherty.
Have a great weekend. Good talking to you.
Yeah.
I still want to fight. I want to fight.
See you, Mike.
We are fighting the good fight here
Dr.
on American
Bennati.
Medicine Today.
Yep.
Well, coming up after the break, we're going to hear what's new in American medicine today and probably a little bit of Rox Croc, a little mixture of both. Make sure you stay tuned.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bennati created, perfected, and patented the Bennati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bennati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bennati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bennati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you. Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results. I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for continuing to listen to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by our executive producer, Ethan Euchre.
I am here as always.
Our senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff.
I'm here. And now my mic's on.
There you go.
And world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati of the Bonati Spine Institute. Now, this segment's going to be great. We're going to do Brock's Croc, and joining us, we have Dr. Jeffrey Pfeiffer, professor of organizational behavior at Stanford's Graduate School of Business, and he's also written a very popular article titled Why Health Insurance Companies Are Doomed. So thank you for joining us, Dr. Pfeiffer.
It's nice to be with you.
So, Dr. Pfeiffer, obviously we want to kind of start out here with this conversation. I know Dr. Bonati is going to have a lot to say. I was reading some of the notes that were sent to me, and it said that no other industrialized country allows its health insurance companies to use high deductibles, high copays, excluded conditions, and a lack of coverage for medications to discourage patients from seeking care. So why do we in this country do all of those things?
Because the health insurance companies have spent hundreds of millions of dollars lobbying to make sure that that we organize our system in the way that we do. It's, of course, extremely profitable. I don't know if you've been following the news recently, but there is going to be at least an attempt at the enormous consolidation in the health insurance industry, and many of the health insurance CEOs will walk away with payments northward of $50 million. So there is a lot of money at stake, and the health insurance companies have spent literally hundreds of millions of dollars lobbying to make sure that they get a big share of it.
Well, the problem that I see here is an association of misbehavior not only on the insurance companies but at the same time American Medical Association. We physicians are not being represented properly by American Medical Association for almost since 1960. The organization of physicians, the American Medical Association of 1960, was an incredible, powerful organization that unfortunately was mismanaged by political and corruption from the 1962 till the 1968, and then after that, in 1983, the last law that passed and allowed the insurance companies to have control of the way to regulate the procedures, and because of that, American Medical Association has a control of that one and receive around $80 million a year. So he has a conflict of interest. Cannot protect medicine, cannot protect the physicians, cannot protect the patients, but has a control of what they call the doctors of the United States. Mm-hmm. The American Medical Association in 1960 was probably 70 to 80% of the physicians were part of that organization. Today is 15% of the physicians part of that organization. The majority family physicians that they really benefit from the Obamacare. So the insurance companies are involved in trying to manipulate the system. I think what we need to do, and I agree totally with you, that the insurance companies are totally doomed. They are a bunch of idiots that they destroy their own business. And then later on, this business needs to be rebuffed, needs to be redo. And physicians, they need to put that thing together. Doctors, they need to get together. If we just look, we have 800,000 physicians in the United States. If every one of these physicians will donate $1,000, we have $800 million every year to fight insurance companies, government, politicians, and put together again the American Medical Association of 1960.
Mm-hmm. Your thoughts on that, Dr. Pfeffer?
No, I mean, it's interesting. You're completely right. I did a program for the American Medical Association. I was astounded to find what a small percentage of physicians they represent. But the nice thing is, because there are these pressures for cost containment, and because the insurance companies basically add cost and overhead without producing any value, you can see in the San Francisco Bay Area and a few other places, but you can see it already, what's going to happen. You're going to get more and more healthcare providers who are going to be either like Kaiser Permanente or even now like Stanford Healthcare, which is going into writing the insurance coverage themselves and leaving the insurance companies out, because the overhead is in an era of cost containment and an era of cost reduction pressures. The overhead that the insurance companies provide is simply not sustainable. So that's why I argued that no matter what anybody does, they're going to be doomed over some period of time, and their lobbying notwithstanding.
Yeah, Dr. Pfeffer, one thing that I believe is if you really look at the power that the physicians have, the only thing that they need to say is no. I don't understand why they need to be joining associations or losing their practice. What they need to say is no. And if you say no, the whole governmental garbage and every Obama program that he created, or anything that the insurance company are trying to do to the physicians, will disappear. We can go ahead and create an association where it's an insurance created by doctors. Anytime that you go to the office of a doctor, this doctor will pass that patient to that new insurance. We destroy totally the competition. We destroy totally.
And as you know, ironically, that's exactly how Blue Cross and Blue Shield originally began, as in fact physician, as a way to do exactly what you described. Mm-hmm. And now Anthem Blue Cross is this enormous behemoth, which transferred, paid the state of California some money mm-hmm. when it went from a not-for-profit to a for-profit organization. But originally, that's exactly what the Blues were. They were not-for-profit organizations designed around physicians to help people cover their medical expenses, and now, for the most part, they have become these for-profit entities that that act just like any other kind of company.
Well, this is a discussion that could continue week to week.
And
so we'd like to have you back on to further discuss, because I know it's something that means a lot to Dr. Bonati, and it should mean a lot to all citizens of the United States.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us, Dr. Jeffrey Pfeffer, Professor of Organizational Behavior at Stanford's Graduate School of Business.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you joining us on American Medicine Today.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about mounting paperwork that physicians have to deal with. They also talk about physicians having to deal with a range of audits
Doc
tied
like
to meaningful
use
of programs. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, we have to wrap up this segment. So if you or someone you know is suffering with neck, back, or sciatic pain, they can reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute, 855-267-0483, or visit Bonati.com. Check us out on Bloomberg, ABC, WFTS here in Tampa at 7. See you next time.